Most men waste their lives throwing punches in battles that never mattered. They bark, posture, argue, and perform like actors desperate for applause. But the man who refuses to engage, the one who doesn't even acknowledge the fight, holds a power far more terrifying. His silence cuts deeper than insults. His indifference burns longer than rage. And his ability to ignore doesn't just end the game, it rewrites the rules, leaving everyone else trapped in a war they're fighting alone. Sometimes the most devastating blow is not delivered, it's withheld. Confrontation is noisy. It's fire meeting fire, ego colliding with ego, and drama feeding on itself like gasoline poured over a flame. Ignoring, however, is nuclear. It requires no effort, no spectacle, no wasted energy, yet it levels entire empires of expectation. When a Sigma male ignores, he isn't just dismissing someone, he's pulling the oxygen out of their world. What was supposed to be a fight becomes a void, and the human mind despises voids. People can defend themselves against insults, accusations, or direct attacks. But they have no shield for nothingness. The silence becomes unbearable, and the ignored person spirals into obsession, self-doubt, and rage while the Sigma male remains untouched, unbothered, and more powerful than ever. In this video, let's explore 10 points about why ignoring gives Sigma men more power than confrontation. 1. When he ignores, he forces others to fight themselves instead of him. Most men swing fists at each other, spilling energy in open combat. But the Sigma male's refusal to engage is a mirror too brutal to dodge. The person he ignores doesn't get a sparring partner. They get trapped in a cage match with their own insecurities. They ask, why didn't he react? Did he not see me? Did he not care? That spiral grows louder than any insult. The silence presses on them like a weight, forcing them to replay every interaction, dissect every word, and question every move. They become prisoners of their own overthinking, haunted by the absence of acknowledgement. He doesn't need to lift a hand, because they beat themselves into exhaustion trying to answer questions that have no answer. The more they seek closure, the more they realize he has already moved on untouched, while they remain shackled to the fight he never even joined. The cruelest opponent is not the one who strikes you, it's the one who leaves you alone with your thoughts. 2. Ignoring turns their loudest weapons into dead weight. Insults, gossip, manipulation, emotional outbursts. These weapons rely on reaction. They need someone to flinch, defend, or fire back. But when the Sigma male ignores, those weapons turn into dead weight, clattering to the floor with no target. A man screaming into silence looks like a fool. A manipulator ignored is exposed as powerless. A gossip starved of acknowledgement becomes irrelevant. In the absence of reaction, all their strategies backfire. What was supposed to wound ends up embarrassing the attacker. By refusing confrontation, the Sigma male doesn't just avoid battle, he dismantles the very weapons his enemies were sharpening. Their power was never real, it only existed if he chose to validate it. His silence is a quiet demolition, turning their strongest moves into pathetic displays that crumble under their own emptiness. Silence is the graveyard where other people's weapons go to die. 3. Ignoring creates a vacuum that devours their sense of importance. Confrontation feeds the ego of the aggressor. Even losing can be spun into a story of courage or defiance. But being ignored offers no such narrative. It's not a duel, it's deletion. The person fades into irrelevance because the Sigma male denied them even the dignity of acknowledgement. They crave the validation of battle, the stage of resistance, the comfort of knowing they were worth engaging. By ignoring, the Sigma male erases that possibility. Their sense of importance collapses because the one they targeted has silently declared, "You don't matter enough to fight." Oblivion hurts more than defeat because at least defeat proves you existed. 4. His silence forces people to broadcast their own desperation. When the Sigma male ignores, those desperate for reaction grow louder, more theatrical, and increasingly pathetic. They shout insults into empty air, beg indirectly for a response, and unravel in plain sight. The irony is brutal. In trying to prove they're significant, they only highlight how insignificant they are. Everyone watching can see the imbalance, the calm stillness of the Sigma versus the frantic desperation of the one being ignored. The louder they scream to be seen, the clearer it becomes that no one is looking. 5. Ignoring starves drama until it suffocates. Drama is a parasite. It only lives if fed attention. Confrontation gives it oxygen, but ignoring cuts off its air supply. By walking away, the Sigma male doesn't win or lose, he simply renders the entire spectacle meaningless. Rumors collapse when nobody listens. Insults rot when nobody reacts. Power struggles disintegrate when one player refuses to show up. The Sigma's refusal is not weakness, it's strategic starvation. He doesn't kill the fire with water, he lets it die choking on its own smoke. Some fires don't need to be fought, you just stop feeding them and they burn themselves out. 6. Ignoring makes their obsession grow. While his peace remains untouched, the cruel genius of ignoring is that it flips the burden. The one who wanted control loses it because they can't stop replaying the silence. They stew in frustration, torment themselves with imagined meanings, and waste endless energy chasing closure. Meanwhile, the Sigma male is free living, building, thriving, unaffected by the storm he unintentionally triggered. Their obsession only tightens the chains around their neck, while he walks away lighter than ever. Obsession is the chain people lock around their own throat when ignored. 7. Ignoring exposes the fragility of social hierarchies. Most social systems are built on mutual acknowledgement, respect traded, favors exchanged, insults answered. When the Sigma male ignores, he refuses the currency that keeps the system running. He breaks the unspoken contract. Suddenly, the hierarchy looks fragile. The gossip loses his crowd. The loud leader looks like a clown shouting at shadows. The hierarchy's illusion crumbles because one man refused to participate in the ritual of acknowledgement. Power games collapse when one player refuses to pick up the dice. 8. Ignoring forces people to see the prison they live in. When everyone else is bound by constant reaction, arguing, defending, proving, the man who ignores reveals another way of existing. His silence is proof that you don't have to dance for approval, that you don't have to play every game. This terrifies people. It exposes their chains. It shows that their frantic scrambling is voluntary, that the prison door was never locked. And nothing breeds resentment faster than realizing someone else is living free while you're still kneeling in shackles. The man who refuses to play shows everyone else that the game was never mandatory. 9. Ignoring leaves a scar, more permanent than words, an insult fades. A heated argument becomes a story. Even a confrontation can be remembered as a badge of honor. But being ignored cuts deeper because it lingers unanswered. There's no closure, no redemption, no way to rewrite the script. It festers. It replays in the mind at 3 a.m. It scratches at the ego like a wound that refuses to heal. And long after the Sigma male has forgotten, the one ignored still feels the scar every time silence echoes in their head. Words can be forgiven, silence is remembered forever. 10. Ignoring makes him untouchable because he cannot be controlled. Confrontation is predictable. Attack, counterattack, resolution. But ignoring is chaos. It strips the other person of control because nothing they do can extract a reaction. That makes the Sigma male untouchable. He becomes a ghost in the system, immune to manipulation, immune to drama, immune to the traps others set. The very act of ignoring makes him more dangerous because it proves he cannot be baited, cannot be bent, and cannot be broken by anyone's demands. The man you cannot provoke is the man you cannot control. On a final note, the world worships noise. It crowns the loudest voices, rewards the most dramatic confrontations, and celebrates those who claw for attention. But the Sigma male proves that the loudest presence is often the weakest and that true power lies in silence. By ignoring, he doesn't just reject conflict, he rewrites it. He forces others to fight themselves, exposes the fragility of their weapons, and leaves scars more permanent than any insult could. His silence is not emptiness, it's gravity. And gravity bends everything around it without making a sound. A man who ignores is not absent, He is everywhere in the minds of those who cannot escape his silence.